What crosses me?
Ifton's under my protection. Watch, city's quiet enough now. When the sun goes down, how can I help? You best keep on your guard.
Want to have your clip featured in the Skyrim Clip of the Week? Simply record the clip on your Xbox and then send it to me via message. My gamertag is iRyeni, that's IRYENI, and then you can message it to me over Xbox and I'll be able to view it. I look forward to seeing the clips that you guys send me. Now moving on to the video. Hey, what's up guys, it's Ryan and welcome back to another episode of Modded Monday. We're on week number 192 now, guys. I've picked out 5 new mods for you guys to check out and perhaps add them to your load order if you find them interesting. But like always, before we jump into them, I want to remind you guys that I'm partnered with GamerSupps, which in my opinion is the best energy drink on the market. Now, I myself used to drink unhealthy gas station energy drinks, but switched whenever I heard about GamerSupps being the healthier choice and alternative. Since then, I've been drinking it regularly, so I reached out and got in contact with them so that we could show you guys the drink and you can try it free if you'd like. If you use my link in the code found in the description, which is RTD, you can get a 10% discount on all their drinks. And if you do end up trying it, definitely let me know what you think about it in the comments down below. Now we can jump into this week's mod, and starting us off we have the Grappling Shout mod. Now if you guys remember, a couple weeks back I did cover a grappling gun mod, which did pretty much the exact same thing. This is a new port of that exact same mod, it's just there's no more gun anymore, it's just simply a shout. And there is now a Grappling Shout book that allows you to change the settings and adjust how it functions. You're able to turn on ragdoll effects for enemies, pull yourself or enemies towards you, alter the speed at which you are pulled, and even adjust how much stamina each shout takes. The shout and the book are automatically added to your inventory once you download the mod, and I actually have a bit of a suggestion that would make this maybe a little bit more lore friendly or maybe make a little bit more sense, because as I'm showing you guys how this works and what the grappling shout actually looks like, I got the idea from Oblivion. I've played through Oblivion so many times, and there's a specific item in there called the Boots of Springhill Jack that you get during the Thieves Guild quest that I feel as though would make this make a little bit more sense. Let's say that maybe you stumble across the Tomb of Springhill Jack, or maybe you just, happen to find the boots. I know they broke in Oblivion, but maybe find a way that the enchantment carried on through into Skyrim. I feel as though that'd be a really cool way of adding, maybe a lore factor into the game. Having the Boots of Springhill Jack in Skyrim would actually make this make a little bit more sense. I know the Grappling Shout is a little bit too intense. You could pretty much jump to the top of a building just by the press of the RB button, but it's really fun to use. I really love using it, especially against other people, pulling themselves towards you, or if there's an area you can't really get up to yet, or maybe a chest that's out of the way, you can just quickly use your Grappling Shout to get up there. But it was just a quick suggestion of the mod to make it make a little bit more sense instead of just giving you a very strong Grappling Shout from the get-go. But nonetheless, I really like the scenes that you can pull off with this mod. As you can see, I stole the clothes off of the guard in Whiterun, and then I went up and I assassinated the Jarl while he was in his sleeping chamber. There's a bunch of stuff that you can do and areas that you can access that you normally wouldn't be able to without this shout, and I think it's just really fun to play with, and that's why it's featured here at our number 5 spot, so I'd strongly recommend downloading the Grappling Shout mod. Coming in at our number 4 spot, we have the Adventures of Jake Morningstar. Now the mod page reads that Jake was a Nord living in Skyrim many years prior to the founding of Whiterun. He witnessed the beginning days of Yggdrasil and was in fact friends with some of the inhabitants. During Jake's travels throughout the land, he found many unique things, from strange wreckage and remains. From these discoveries, Jake was able to craft many powerful weapons, armors, potions, and scrolls. He set up a few places to trade his wares in major cities, and established a central shop on the ruins of an old foundation of a destroyed building just outside Whiterun. From there, he was able to sell his wares. After years of exploring, Jake married and settled down for a short time. His family has inherited his shops and has carried on his trades for many years since. During Jake's travels, he set about placing all sorts of containers throughout Skyrim as caches for his future travels to supply him and his traveling companions with the supplies they needed to survive. Jake and his companions found several strange and unique structures throughout their adventures, and he wrote many of the documents describing the places him and his friend found. His original camp can be found north and east of Helgen along the base of the mountain. In my personal opinion, I really love mods and just quests that do stuff like this, where you're able to go and actually look for clues and find stuff on where you have to go next, and not necessarily have a quest marker that takes you everywhere. I do really love quest mods that do that, and this is just a very minor quest mod that just takes you throughout treasure hunting in Skyrim, taking you to every different area that you can go to, as well as marking different locations on your map of little caches that he left behind full of loot. There's just so many means of exploring and way more ways of being rewarded for exploring with this mod, and I just think it's a perfect mod to add to any type of load order, especially if you're using the pirate load order that I made a while back. You know, I had a bunch of treasure hunting mods in that load order, but this is a much bigger treasure hunting mod, so if you are still running that pirate load order, I would recommend downloading the Adventures of Jake Morningstar and adding it to it. But nonetheless, if you aren't a pirate and you still want to play around with the treasure hunting mods, then the Adventures of Jake Morningstar is definitely a mod I'd recommend checking out, and that's why it's featured here at our number 4 spot, so I'd recommend downloading it and seeing if you can find these new amazing treasures. Coming in at our number 3 spot, we have the Yggdrasil music mod. Now this is a huge music replacer that adds about 11 to 12 hours of lore-friendly dark folk and Nordic music to the game. It also has some complementary sound effects as well. Unlike most other music mods, this mod will change the style of music to a completely different one. All music tracks have been edited and mixed to fit perfectly into the game. This mod replaces all of the vanilla music, whether it be the exploration, day, night, morning, and evening, combat, whether it's a normal and boss battle. For dungeons, you have the normal and ice cave soundtracks, the forts, the soul cairn, and Blackreach, as well as towns and castles. This mod also removes the vanilla music from the inns. Now this is a very big mod coming in at 500 plus megabytes, and there's also a light version with the music quality slightly lowered that comes in 200 megabytes less than this one. But enough of me just talking about the music, let's actually stop and take a listen to some of these new tracks. Now as you can see, this Yggdrasil music mod definitely changes the atmosphere of Skyrim 100%. You know, with it removing all of the vanilla music from the game, it's like playing a whole new game. And if you have a whole bunch of mods installed that make the game look completely different, you could maybe be convinced that you're playing a different game. You know, this dark folk and Nordic music is perfect for any type of character that you may have, but if you are playing as a Nord and that's the character you're going for, then this would be a perfect music replacer just to add on top of that, just for the cherry on top. I always love to see new music mods, and with this adding 11 to 12 hours of new lore-friendly music, there's so much new sound to hear with this mod, and that's definitely why it's featured here at our number 3 spot, so I'd recommend downloading the Yggdrasil music mod and giving some of these tracks a listen for yourself. Coming in at our number 2 spot, we have the Underground Dungeon Retexture mod. Now this is a huge, almost 600 megabyte retexture mod of all of the dungeon textures. It covers caves, ice caves, mines, Nordic ruins, Dwemer ruins, Imperial forts, Riften, and many other underground areas that you explore. So something I've noticed about the caves in Skyrim is that after a while of adventuring, you start to notice how every cave is just lit up for pretty much no reason, whether it's inhabited or not. You walk into it and there's lights everywhere and you can see everything, and if there's people there or not, it's still lit up and it doesn't really make much sense. So we fixed that up a long time ago with the ELFX Hardcore mod, or the Enhanced Light and Effects Hardcore mod, that makes all of the caves completely dark, but there was another problem that was added along with that. Once we made all of the caves completely dark, the textures kinda looked off because the vanilla textures were built around having that light inside of the caves. So now we have to come back in here with all the caves being dark and having weird textures. Let's fix those textures with the Underground Dungeon Retexture mod. With this mod alongside with the ELFX Hardcore mod making all of the caves dark, you'll have a new remastered dungeon texture that you'll be able to see, as well as it being way more realistic that all the caves are completely dark, and it actually makes it a little bit more spooky as well, because you don't know what's around the next corner. As I said, it applies to every cave in Skyrim, so you'll have a new and unique experience with every new mine, Nordic ruin, Dwemer ruin, or Imperial fort you enter. There's so much ground covered with this mod, or should I say underground, that it's just a perfect mod to add to any type of graphical load order that you may have, and that's why it's featured here at our number 2 spot, so I'd strongly recommend downloading the Underground Dungeon Retexture mod. Coming in at our number 1 spot, we have the Way of the Nords, which is a new standalone mod for the Whiterun interior city, which complements the Nordic tradition with an atmospheric and natural feel for the city. This mod expands on the Nord influence, reflecting on their way of life as the mod author interprets it. And the compatibility with this mod is its main module is not compatible with any other mod that changes Whiterun City, except for Fortified Whiterun, which is actually what we have active here. You can place that Fortified Whiterun mod above this one, and allow this one to go beneath it, and put both lower in your load order so that they work properly. Now as you can see, the mod author went above and beyond whenever it came to creating this new Whiterun, and I feel as though it really comes alive with that Nordic tradition. I feel as though if you're playing a Nord character, you can combine a bunch of mods that we covered today, such as the Underground, the Yggdrasil music light, and the Way of the Nords, all together, and they could be for a perfect Nord load order. That's just a suggestion and something I feel would be a lot of fun, but nonetheless this is a huge Whiterun interior city overhaul that comes in at 31 megabytes only, and it has a whole bunch of new changes and beautiful textures added to it that is just a perfect mod for anyone who spends a lot of time in Whiterun. And that's why the Way of the Nords comes in at our number 1 spot, so I'd recommend downloading it and making your Whiterun come alive. So that's pretty much it for this week's episode of the top 5 Skyrim mods of the week. Hopefully you guys did enjoy, and if you did, I'd appreciate it if you left a like and subscribe if you're new. It really helps me out a lot. And if you have any suggestions for mods you'd like me to cover in future top 5 mod episodes, be sure to let me know in the comment section below, or you can follow me on Twitter. I'll be sure to leave my Twitter in the description, and you guys can follow me on there and leave me suggestions there as well. Special shout out to my Patreon supporters. Thank you guys so much for everything that you guys have done for me. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Hopefully you guys did enjoy, and I will talk to you guys later.